Today I'll be doing another fun recipe. This one's called chocolate potato cake. Take a look at it fresh from the oven. It smells so good. It's still hot right now. I'm also going to show you how to make this fluffy 7-minute frosting to go on top of it. Look at it finished, frosted and beautiful and just ready for us to dive in. You're watching The Bear Pantry Show. Alright guys, so here are the ingredients that we're going to need. Take a look. We're going to need 3/4 cups of butter or margarine. I'm using butter. This is 1.5 cups of sugar, but it's going to be divided, so I divided it out for you guys already. This is 1.5 cups of all-purpose white flour, 1/2 cup of the baking cocoa. This is 4 eggs, and I've separated it because we're going to do one of those things where we whip the egg whites and then fold it in. In this bowl I have 3 things. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. This is 1 cup of regular milk. And of course, our little secret ingredient right here are 1 cup of mashed potatoes. Nothing in it, no salt, no pepper, no gravy, okay? Just mashed potatoes. Now let's get started. Alright guys, so before we get off into the making of the cake, I want to show you what you're going to need for your frosting. Okay, we're going to do one of these 7-minute frostings. Take a look. You're going to need 2 egg whites, 1.5 cups of regular sugar, 1/3 cup of water. This is 2 teaspoons of light corn syrup in here. And this is 1/8 teaspoon of salt. I don't have an 1/8 teaspoon in my set, so this is 1/4, so it's going to be 1/2. And if you don't have these small ones too, just use a pinch, alright? A pinch will do. The first thing we have to do is get the potatoes prepared. So I've peeled them, I've cut them into chunks. I'm putting them in some water and then over to the stove and boiling them and then mashing them and just setting them aside. Now we're going to start preparing the cake. So I'm going to use the KitchenAid for a part of it. So I'm starting off with the butter and the sugar. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, you have to have a 9 by 13 by 2 inch pan. And this is non-stick, but I still greased and floured it because I don't want any problems with the cake not being able to come out of the pan. So now let's begin. And I start by adding in the sugar and the butter. And then just creaming that for a few minutes. And then I add my eggs. And of course these are all the egg yolks because remember we separated from the white. Now it's time to add the mashed potatoes. This is weird, right? I am so excited for this cake because it's going to be so wonderful. I've tried it before and it's awesome. So now over to the counter, I've put some of the dry ingredients together. This is the baking powder, the flour, the salt, and the cinnamon, and of course the baking cocoa. And then now I'm whipping the egg whites until stiff peaks form. And you know this takes a while, so I use the hand mixer. And here we go, stiff peaks. And then now all I have to do is add the dry ingredients to the bowl with the cream stuff. And what I do is add it like by 1/3. So I add 1/3 of the dry ingredients first, then I add 1/3 of the milk, and I just kind of blend it with the hand mixer. And of course I use my spatula in between to clean off the edges. This is the last amount of the dry ingredients, and it's a really stiff batter. So here is the last little bit of my milk. This is the last 1/3 of my milk. And so basically, I'm just going to go ahead and add the egg whites in. Now I'm going to fold it into the batter. And you know, whenever a batter says to fold the egg whites in, you know, do it separately and fold it in, it's because it's trying to lighten up the batter, okay? So just fold in, take your time with it. And like I said, it's going to be a very thick batter. Oh, by the way, I'm putting my vanilla extract. You could put this too when you're doing the egg yolks and the potato and stuff, but I like to add that last. And here we go. The batter is very thick. So now all I need to do is pour it in my pan that's ready for me. And if you get things prepared in advance, it moves pretty fast. So I'm just going to pour it out and level it off with my spatula. And then my oven is preheating to 350 degrees. It's going to go for 40 minutes. Clean off my spatula good, and in the meanwhile, while it's baking, we're going to make our 7-minute frosting, okay? So knock it down, and then now into the oven, and now time for the frosting. So let's start here first with this, alright? So the first thing we want to do is dump our sugar in, dump the egg whites in, and the water. So this frosting uses, I think 6 ingredients. I'm going to check that for you. So we're dumping the first 5 in, okay? This is the corn syrup. And the salt. Remember to use a pinch if you don't have all these measuring utensils. Okay guys, so this is what we're going to do. My pot is so big, so I'm going to have Joe come right in here with the camera for me. And all I'm doing is beating these ingredients for about a minute in the pot. And then I'm going to move over to the stove to where I'm using a makeshift double boiler because I don't own one. And I'm going to show you what we do next. Okay guys, so this is all I'm doing. I'm doing it. There's a homemade boiler right here, right? And we want to beat this for 7 minutes. Alright guys, so I let it go for 7 minutes. So kids, go get help with this one, okay? Because it's hot. Take a look. Here's our frosting. Pour it into this bowl. It's so satiny. We're going to let this cool down before we put it on the cake, alright? So it's been 40 minutes, so now let me check with my toothpick, insert it in the middle. If it comes out clean, we're done. After a few minutes, like 10 minutes or so, I just kind of loosen it with my knife, loosen it from the edges. And then now it's time to pour our frosting on. And this frosting is really satiny, but after it sets for a few hours, it gets kind of crystallized. I really like this frosting. So just pour it all over the cake. And once I get it spread out really nicely, I clean off my spatula and I cut my first few pieces of the cake out of the pan. And it looks so good, it feels good. Alright guys, so I'm going to taste the cake in a few minutes, but I wanted to give a quick shout out to a good friend of mine, Sharon. We had lost contact with each other for a while, and Sharon found me back through social media, and I'm so glad to have you back in my life. Sharon is Jada's godmother, one of Jada's godmother, and basically it's been a thrill, and she sent me a gift. I didn't know that it was coming. It was such a surprise. I mean, I love giving, but I also love receiving. So when this big box came, I was so excited, and I opened it up and it was all these wonderful things for the kitchen. And it's from this Temptation set. It's that kind of ceramic ware that can go in the oven, in the refrigerator, in the freezer, and in the dishwasher. So it's like multi-purpose. And I just absolutely love this set. Thank you so much, Sharon, for sending me this wonderful gift. I'm so thrilled. You're gonna see me use it from now on in the shows, okay? So I want to thank you guys as always for watching the show, for sharing for me. If you like the video, hit like below. And the next thing I want to do is taste our wonderful cake. But I also want to give a quick shout out to David Chilcott. I think I'm saying the last name right, from the One Pot Chef show. When I first started doing my show, I was just like really thrilled to find David's show, and I kind of fashioned my show after his. And I like the simplicity of his show, and he's such a fun person. And he's been sick, you know, for a little while here, but he's on the way to mending. And David, we're still praying for you, and get back into the kitchen as soon as you can, okay? Thank you guys so much, and until I see you again, take care. The Creole word of the day today is maga. Jada gave me that word. It means skinny, okay? Maga. All right, guys, it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it, okay? I don't know what the secret ingredient, the potato, does to it, but it's so moist. Please check out my review channel right here on YouTube. It's called Bear Pantry Talk. Also, check out my vlog channel. It's called Babs Bear Talk.